Okay, hi guys, it's Pigzy here, and
Alex,
Alex.
also known as Militant Stew.
Look him up, because he's hot. Yeah,
Don't. It's embarrassing.
it's hot, trust me, there's ice cream. So we've got a TvZ game. I'm just going over my builds that I commonly use in all my games as a Terran, against one for each matchup, maybe two, we'll see. So this is an all-bio play with fast expansion, and it relies on massive amounts of pressure, losing all your units 100 times and then eventually winning, and it's pretty hot. So we'll jump into it. Speed up a bit. You start off like normal, you do your 10 depot here, you want to wall off because it's Zerg, and you do your 12 racks, 13 gas. But then the cleverness comes in. When you take the guys out of gas, I think I do it in this game better, but even if I don't, do it anyway because it's better. You take the guys out of gas at 50, so then after like one or two marines, you can get the reactor down, and then you get a command center here as the reactor's building. So, yep, take them out of gas, as I said, and then, yep, just enough gas, and then you get the command center when this reactor's still going up. And yes, you are completely safe from all-ins, bailing busts and stuff. I've had lots of games where people try and do that because like, oh, he's only got one racks and it can't build stuff, so they try things. But with a bit of SCV repair on the wall, you're fine. So then after you put your command center down, you start getting more barracks. So a nice little timing to know is after your second round, once these guys are at your second round of marines, it's a good time to poke, because the Zerg tends to their lava inject just comes out. I believe this is why it's good. Their lava inject just comes out, and if you poke here, say I don't think I do it this game. You got like 5-6 marines. You poke here, they have to use some of the lava from their lava inject to make Zerglings, not drones.
Yeah, so it's more that it's not popped when the Marines pop, is it? It's popped about when your Marines would get to the watchtower.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a better time, isn't it? Because then he reacts straight away.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty hot. But you don't want to attack, because you just want to try and kill scouts, make yourself known, and then pull back. So he has to build the Zerglings, but they will kill you, so you want to pull back, so your Marines don't die for no reason, right? So yeah, we're just getting more marines and whatever. I haven't entirely fleshed out the order of this, but generally I would make this a tech lab, and then you get stim faster. But that means you have a delayed factory. This factory is going to then go into a starport, and the factory will build a reactor, and then you do double training, medevacs.
So you're switching
that
region.
you do the switch. But pretty much you want to end up with only one tech lab, and I think off 2 bases you can do 4 reactor barracks, 1 tech lab, and 1 reactor starport. And then you want to keep pushing. Your second push should come before you have stim, usually. But again, you don't want to go onto his creep, because if he has banelings, which he will get later, it can mess you up pretty bad. But you want to wait until you've got stem until you attack the creep. So you land this down whenever really. It's not. I find against Zerg, it depends on how many lings they produce, but you don't need to get the gas because we're so mineral heavy. You can build another racks here. Yeah, just transferring those. See, as I said, you get that down. Bit of combat. See, even all these lings with a bit of micro, you can take them pretty easy. Like, it's not anything fancy micro wise, but this build does take a bit of micro, right? So it's not just the build. In fact, the build, it's more of the strategy and mindset you want to use for this. The idea is that you constantly pressure the Zerg, so they never have a chance ever to build drones. They can't get enough gas to get many mutalisks out, and even if they do, you're like all marines, so they're pretty good against mutas, right?
Because the Zerg either build attacking units or drones.
Yeah, exactly.
Essential mechanic.
Yep. And the Terran player, which is you should, or I should be, making constant SCVs out of here. So we're getting SCVs, and the Zerg player isn't. Plus, we're slowly adding on more tech. We're getting a stem pack. We're going to get our combat shield +1s, drop ships, and you do have to have a bit of micro, but at a lower level, the Zerg player will have worse macro. So it should even out. You just need to make sure that you do a little bit of splitting on your Marines, not one glob. Like, it doesn't have to be Marine King Prime, but it's got to be something. And also, because we're attacking so often, the Zerg player won't be able to spread creep very well. If he's spreading creep out here, scan it and kill it, because you don't want to fight speed banelings on creep. Like, never do that.
But I've noticed that playing lower levels,
Yeah.
players go roaches. Zerg players play roaches a lot more, so you can get away with less micro because they're going to be going roaches.
Yeah, that's
because it's a very popular play,
Yeah.
as opposed to...
That's really true. And even though you might think roaches are good against Marines, in low numbers that's true. But as soon as you have like a decent number of Marines, they own the shit out of roaches, especially with stim and combat shield and medevacs and stuff. So that's what's happening here is, yeah, sure, I lost that, but it was still a good engagement because he's forced. He's good, so he's sneaking in a couple of drones, but he's mainly making Zerglings, right? And I've still got these reinforcements flooding in, and you just keep pressuring over and over and over.
And, well, he's not building banelings at the moment, is he?
Yeah. Also, because you attack so often, they only have time to make Zerglings. They don't have time to make both the Zerglings and then morph them into banelings. So, you have to worry about microing against them less. So, I probably should have been showing this more, but meanwhile, back in my base, yeah, my money's getting high because I'm terrible. We're still, we'll get combat shield soon, but we're still getting tech. We're getting more production facilities, and then we're going to move on to the next step of the overall strategy, which is pretty good. When you can no longer pressure the Zerg because they either have too many banelings or they've got lots of mutalisks or something, you know, it's just not quite working out anymore. You want to take your third. You just pull back, you know, in this match, just pull back, I kill the rocks. And when you take your third, you want to, you get 3 factories, right? And then you start tank production. This is good for a couple of reasons. One, the Zerg players going banelings, right? And tanks own the crap out of them. Plus, you're expanding towards your opponent, so you've already made a lot of the ground towards the Zerg player. That's one of the big problems with going tanks, is to actually get across the map because they intercept you. And but once you're like here and you're sieging up, it's pretty much game over for Zerg. So we've already covered this distance here once we take our third base, and it's not so hard to get to the Zerg. Also, we've pushed their creep back with our bio push, which makes it harder for them to outmaneuver our tanks.
Was it also worth noting that Terran, because of mules on 2 bases, get more minerals than Zerg on 2 bases, or 3, both on 3 bases. So if you've got more bases or the same number of bases, so if you can deny their expansions, you got a huge advantage, right? So that, your plan should be,
yeah,
taking that into account.
Yeah, exactly. That plays nicely into the fact that if your Zerg player's going banelings and you're going Marines, unless you got ridiculous micro, it's not going to be cost effective. You're going to be losing more minerals than they are per engagement. But if you're muling and they're not droning, you're going to have more money, so that's okay. Also, the Zerg player loses gas every engagement, and you don't, because your dropships are flying, so they don't die to the banelings. And the only thing that's dying are your Marines, which are mineral heavy. Which is why I don't get much gas. But that means as soon as you get your third base, you want to take all your geysers, and that's why you can afford to go 3 factories rather than 2. Get that? Does that make sense? So you end Yeah, at this stage in the game, when you're taking your base, I talked about this in another replay. You just drop them, whatever. I think that pretty much covers the general strategy.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
with the drops, like, you're taking your base, you're dropping him so he has to send his army to deal with your drop
Yeah.
and all that.
Yeah. If we
Can't attack you.
Yeah, exactly. If we look at the mini-map, his blue blob is over here because there's a drop, and he was down here before. More units streaming this way. So I'm dropping away from the middle, so he can't attack this base here that we're looking at. Yeah, but I covered that in a different episode, so we don't really need to talk about it too much. So I think that's a pretty effective build. If you don't like it, I'd still go for this FE. It's awesome. It gets you a really strong econ, except instead of going for so many racks, just get more tanks. Get the gas fast and get more tanks. It's pretty flexible. The main thing is just the timing on that opening is damn fine. Damn fine.
Is it possible that you might cover building tanks a bit later? Might come up. So stick around
Yeah.
to learn how to build lots of tanks.
Yeah. I don't really have many good builds for that because I just do this every game. But I'd still advise, if you're going to go tanks, do this FE anyway, and then just get more gas and get 2 factories off 2 base and build tanks. Another good timing when you're going with tanks is you get an armory, and then you do a round of 4 production just before you push, because that allows you to take out mutas, and then you push with the tanks, marines, and whatnot, and roll them over. Yeah. So we'll move on to my Protoss strategy, which isn't a usual bio play. Most people do bio against Protoss, but I do a bit of tank marine action. So see you there.
How do you say the name? Is it Very?
Very.
Very, like what? Very what?
Nothing. Like,
Very shit.
maybe. That might be it.
He's gonna be shit. Make him shit.
Make it fit.
Oh, this guy.
You
I
idiot.
BC'd. Didn't I BC rush
Yes.
him? Yeah. Okay. So remember the code, the build, the strategy, all that fooling around and rambling that we did. Remember the purpose, and remember to take the guards of gas, because I'll forget. Yeah.
That's the tough part.
And remember to move.
Yeah. No.
I'll tell you. This guy.